I've heard some great things about the Woodcraft store in Austin, Texas. So I figured I'd head down there, check things out for myself, and see what I can learn. Always looking to add to my woodworking skills. So this is what we're going to make.
This is.
Nice, beautiful cutting board.
It's a face grain cutting board.
Nice. And then, how do we do that? Where do we start?
Well, the first thing we do is we pick out rough lumber, but I've brought in some pieces that we don't necessarily want to have, but we want to see the defects in these so that when we go to pick out our lumber, we'll know what we're looking for.
Okay, so each one of these is a different example of warp?
It is. There's
like,
4 types of warp.
This one here, I don't know, it's real pretty.
It's a nice board, but it's twisted. It's got
a
real
little twist.
Yeah, it's got a really big twist in it.
It's got a little twist. I think this will work well.
You can use my glasses if you need to, but there's a check here on this side, and there's a check down here on this side. So if you see a board like this that's checking on one end on this side and one end on this side, no matter how pretty that board is, put it back.
Seriously?
Even if it's flat, dead on, and you just think, that's the board I want, I'll cut those off, you won't. That board will check again and it will twist.
It will?
Yes.
That's good to know.
So this is a piece of firewood.
So if there's a check on one end, but not the other, and then on the opposite side, it's that, right?
Correct, correct.
Huh, that's good to know. What's up with this one?
This board right here is a really nice board. It's nice straight grain, but it's got a cup that's going through the grain of the face.
Look at that. You can see it. It sweeps like this.
And in our project, we want to try to keep these boards as thick as we can. We could probably get this board flatter, but we're going to have to take off maybe 1/4 of an inch. And we take a risk of this board cupping again.
Really?
Yes. So we would probably rather not use that board.
And this one?
This one right here is an example of a board that has a real pretty face on it. But remember, boards are two-faced. And you've got a lot of defects on this side. You've got a huge check on that side. So this board is not probably going to be usable for our project.
Okay, let's stay away from that. And then we got this example right here.
This board right here has 2 problems. You can see, if you look down the face of this board, you can see a pretty strong bow.
Yep.
That's the 3rd type of warp, is a bow. So that one's got a real strong bow. You might be able to use this if you were cutting it into smaller sections.
Pieces.
But the type that I've already preset a 40-inch piece, so we're gonna need it to have less of a bow than that.
Okay, and what's the other problem with this one?
The other problem is, if you look down, that usually when you have a real strong bow in a board, you're gonna have a real strong crook. And a crook is a bow that's in the edge.
Oh, okay, okay.
So you've got a real...
see how it sweeps that way.
Yeah. So again, you could probably cut that out. That would be the more usable, because you can probably straighten that crook out, but the bow, if you're using a longer piece, you can find better.
Huh. And now, in this example, it looks like I'm getting better at my species.
Okay.
So let me... Walnut?
That's American walnut.
Purple heart?
That is.
Cherry?
That is.
Padauk? Is that how it's pronounced?
Yes.
Padauk? Maple.
Curly maple.
Curly maple, and this is darker than this, but this looks like walnut too.
Peruvian walnut. This is a hybrid of walnut.
Nice. This is pretty.
Yes, this grows. This is a forested wood. Most Peruvian is plantation.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So it has a straighter grain. It grows faster, whereas this came from a forest out of South Carolina.
I got you. And when we're selecting wood, is there any species we don't want to use for a cutting board, or can we just use whatever we want?
We brought in a couple of pieces to show that you might not want to use. This is an ebony. Ebony you usually can't get in very big pieces, so that's one of the ones. It is pretty.
It's dense too.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's not one you can usually get in a big enough piece.
But you could use it for a smaller one if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, it'd be real small.
Super tiny, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
like a cheese board or something. This is a piece of wenge. I wouldn't use that because it's splintery.
Oh.
This is a real splintery wood, and you're going to be cutting on it, and you don't want people getting splinters in their mouth.
Yeah, no, that would be bad.
This is a spalted piece of wood. Anytime you're in a cutting board, you probably don't want to use something spalted, because what that is mold that gets in there, so you probably don't want to have that with food.
Right, it makes sense.
This is a piece of teak. This is a real pretty piece of teak.
Beautiful.
Teak is one of the costlier woods. You probably wouldn't want to work this into your cutting board. You'd want to do bigger outside projects. This is an outdoor kind of wood.
Okay.
So you would probably want to use it for something like that.
All right. Well, let's head over to the lumber area.
Let's do it.
And pull some rough.
I'm ready.
Alright, so this is the wood we're actually going to use. We've selected this. Where do we go next?
The first thing we got to do is determine, we already looked for warp, but now we need to get some chalk, and I've got some, and we need to mark our side that's got the warp on it.
Okay.
So we're going to look down the face of this board, and we picked out the better board, so this doesn't have much warp on any face, but I can see a little bit on this side. So we're going to mark that side, and we're going to go down the entire face of the board with a piece of chalk, and I'll show you why we did that when we get to that point.
Okay.
We're also going to check the edge. So this is the side that's got the crook in it, because every board does usually. So we're going to mark this side, because we need these markings to keep us, so when we start prepping the wood, we know how to set it up on the machines.
Okay. Okay.
So looking at that one, do you see any warp?
It looks like it goes this way a little bit.
So let's check it. I see this side as the bowed side. You want to check that again, Eric?
Oh yeah, I do now. I do now down there at the end.
So let's mark that face as the side that's got the warp in it. So again, we're going to go across the entire face. Check the edge now. Turn it flat and look down the edges. Do you see any warp?
Is there a little bit going this way on this side?
So this is a pretty straight board. So I think we're good. We could use either edge. Do your face first.
This definitely goes this way.
So this is our bowed side.
Yep.
So that's the side we want to mark. Check your edge.
I think this looks pretty straight.
Okay, you don't mind me double checking it?
Of course.
Okay, has a really strong crook. How did you miss that?
I don't know. My eyes
my
aren't
glasses?
good.
I could loan you my glasses.
Yeah. All I see is down there some roughness.
Well, you can't see that bow and that edge. Put it up against something wide. Can you see it now?
Oh yeah.
It's real strong.
Yeah, now I can see it.
Yeah.
It was easier to put it on that white.
You need to remember your glasses next time.
I'm gonna get my glasses out.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna mark that. Now we got one more.
Man, I'm not doing a good job with this.
Yeah, well, you're doing all right. You don't have much experience at it.
No.
Okay. So look down the face first. Which side's got, there's gonna be a concave and a convex, which is the bow.
Okay, this side is like this.
Let's see. Yep, you got that right. So we're gonna mark that one. You're 50-50.
Alright, let me see now.
Check the edge.
I'm gonna do like this.
Yeah, it helps to put it on something where you can have a contrast.
I think so.
See it?
Here.
Can I double check again? Yep, you're right. Nice job.
I'm getting better.
You're getting better.
A couple more thousand, I'll be fine.
I'm getting you learned up.
Alright, so now we got chalk on this. Now what do we do?
Now we gotta take it and cut it into our lengths. And I've pre-selected a length. It's 41 inches.
41? Okay.
And that's what we're gonna take it to our chop saw.
Alright, and then after we cut it to length?
After we cut it to length, then we're gonna come over here to our joiner and we're
Okay.
gonna start working on getting our boards flat. Because flat boards is woodworking, anything else is carpentry. It's not.
I like that too.
This is woodworking. I'm teaching you woodworking.
This is what I want to learn. I want to learn how to go from rough to Flat boards.
we're gonna do it.
All right. So we'll cut these to length, go to the joiner.
From the joiner, we're gonna do
planer?
thickness. That's where we get thickness. Now, most people come in and buy a planer because they think it's gonna give them flat boards. A planer doesn't give you flat boards.
Ah.
A planer gives you parallel thickness.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right, let's take these down to the chop saw. Sandy, I've got no experience on a joiner, so can you show me what I need to do to use one properly and how to set it up?
All right, yeah, I can. So you would take a square. You want to make sure that your fence is square to your table.
And that's perfect.
And that's good, so that's what we want.
Okay.
So that's your starting point. So now this machine gives you two things. It's going to give you a flat edge on your board where the crook was. And it's going to give you a flat face.
Just one face.
Where the bow was.
Okay.
Just one face.
And now, are we going to do anything about depth?
Depth is coming up later. These
on the cut. The depth of the cut.
The 1/16 of an inch is what I've got it set at. Small passes is better. The thing with woodworking that everybody needs to remember is you can always make another cut, but you can't never put wood back.
Ah, right.
So take your time.
Yeah. I like that. You can't never put wood back.
You can't.
I like that.
Okay, so we've got a flat edge.
This looks all right.
That looks great.
So how do we deal with this other edge?
Okay, since this was the concave down here, this is going to be convex.
So it's like that.
So that's not going to happen with the joiner, because if you try to run it through the joiner, all you're going to do is rock it through.
Okay.
And you're never going to get it flat.
Okay.
So we're going to have to go over to the table saw, and the table saw now becomes part of the pal group.
Right, because these two are pals.
These two are pals. Now the table saw is going to have to be brought into the fold, because we're going to have that. And my past estimation, I call these the big three.
Okay.
You got to have the big three to do woodworking, or else it's carpentry.
All right, I like that. I like that a lot. You say a lot of things I like.
All right.
So we're going to run this up against our fence.
We are. We're going to take
trim off the waist, right?
We are, and we've got a little smaller joiner. So what we're going to have to do, this is obviously more than 8 inches,
yeah.
So we're going to have to cut this board down.
Okay. So what width are we going to cut this to?
We're going to cut it at about 7.5.
So are we going to go right to 7.5?
Close.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, I factored in some error room. I gave us a little bit wider boards, a little bit longer boards, so that we can play with it.
Okay. All right. So we'll head over to table saw.
All right.
Okay, so all that we have left now is this one face, right?
Right, we're gonna run these through the thickness planer, and it's gonna give us a parallel thickness.
Thickness.
And that's what we're going for now. We've got a flat side here because we ran it through the joiner.
Right.
We chalked our side that we knew we had to cut. So once we run it through here, as it gets this board the same thickness, it's gonna flatten it, and it's gonna give us a perfectly flat board. And that's what we want. Flat boards are woodworking, everything else is carpentry.
Right. And because of the way this machine operates, it's got feed rollers on one side and then the cutters on the top.
Correct.
So whatever's on that feed side
is your flat side.
Right.
And your cutter side needs to be the side that you chalked.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So where do we go? How do we set up this machine?
Okay, it has a guide that you can use, but I use sight and sound. We're gonna have to figure out the thickness of these boards first, and that's where the calipers come into play. Calipers, this is a fractional version. This is my preference on calipers. There's also a digital version for the guys that want to do it quicker. I like to do it kind of old school. So I come back and I measure these boards. There might be a difference in thickness along the length of the board because the board's uneven, but generally you can get it. This is probably our thickest board here.
What's this one measuring?
That's measuring a little over 1 inch in the middle and 1 inch on the sides.
Okay.
So this one here is about 7/8.
Okay.
About 7/8. This one here is a little over 7/8.
Over 7/8.
So that's going to be our next thickest. This one here is over here, but less than 7/8 there.
So this is going to be our narrowest.
That's our narrowest board.
Okay.
So this is the order they're going to run in.
Like that.
So you always want to run from your thickest to your thinnest, because one of the golden rules is you can take more off, but you can't put it back.
Right. Can't weld this.
Nope. No welding.
So how do you set up the machine from here, now that we know the order that we're going to do this in?
Okay, so this is the flat side that we know is good. So we're going to put it down.
Okay.
We're going to put this in our machine. We've lowered the table. We're going to turn it on. I do it by down. I raise that table until it starts pulling that board through. So that would be my starting point. Because that board's different in thickness,
Yeah, it stopped.
you might have to push it in and then let it start cutting.
I got you.
So once you do that, I work this, I try to make it easy. I put it into fractions. I do the 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Now if we're wanting to take heavier cuts because we know we want to come down to a certain width and we need to get there, we could probably take heavier cuts, but we want to keep these as thick as we can.
Okay.
So we're only going to come down to this. So we're going to move up about 45, and then we're going to take the backlash, you called it.
Yep.
We're going to take that out, and now we're going to run this board.
Okay.
Except on the opposite side.
Now, do you ever flip the rotation of it?
It doesn't matter on a planer because we're going to go back and sand it.
Okay.
We're going to go up 45 and 15 back. Now we can probably try this one. If you'll grab that one. So it's not going to grab this one yet. So we still got to go again with that one.
So this stuff is flat
It is.
and somewhat square?
And somewhat square close.
Close.
And the reason why I say that is because wood moves. There's some movement in wood. When you mill it, it's going to move a little bit.
Yeah, see, even now, they're not, even though we sent them all back through, I can feel variation in thickness.
It's moving just a little bit. You need to give it a rest period.
So normally you'd want to rest this before
You would want to
use it.
rest it.
Okay, okay. And at this point, really, we could make whatever we want.
We could.
Because it's milled lumber. We went from rough to something that's milled.
We could.
Okay. How do we move ahead with our cutting board project?
So we're going to take these strips over to the table saw. I let anyone design whatever board they want, just as long as they keep it within a certain perimeter that we've set. So 13 inches, say.
That's in the classes you teach?
It is.
Okay, that's
So-
what these are from?
That's what these are from. So I tell them, stay within that width, design it yourself, glue it up.
Okay, so the next step would be to go to the table saw and rip these down to different thicknesses. And we're designing a pattern here, right?
We are, whatever pattern they choose.
Okay.
And I let them pick whichever species they want.
Okay, I got you. Can you give me any tips for thickness here? Anything I should know about? Like, should I go with a 3-inch or 2, or, you know, cut
So
down
when
to 1/8 inch?
you go to your glue up, the thicker boards tend to glue up better than the thinner boards.
Okay, what does that mean, better?
They need more time.
Ah, okay.
More time is needed. If you're going to use thinner slices, you need more time.
I got you. All
You
right.
need to give that glue a lot more time to set up.
And make sure it's locked in.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's kind of what happened here. Is it went from these to these. These might have been from previous classes, and that one got shorter because it broke apart here, and this one got shorter in several ways because we were using thin strips.
I got you.
It needed more time.
Okay. Because once we rip these down, then we're going to do a glue up, and then after that we're going to sand them and finish them and all that.
We are.
All right. All right, cool. Well, let's get at it.
All right.
Sandy, I love how this looks.
Looks great.
I like the color combination. I like the wood.
Good species.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you did
So
a good
how do we
job.
finish this up?
We are going to take it over to the planer.
Okay.
We're going to run a pass or two just to get it flattened out. We're going to take it from there to the drum sander. There we'll take it and get it flat the rest of the way on both sides.
Now, why not just do it all on the drum sander?
Because
Or all on the planer?
that's a good question. We've got some places here that we need to take a little bit of thickness off.
Uh-huh.
And the planer does that quicker.
Okay.
Because the planer is like a razor. It grabs a hold of that wood and chops it off.
Ah.
And we can do it quicker. We can go to the drum sander. We can do it with the drum sander as well, but it takes twice as long. The drum sander actually teases the fibers up and fluffs them down. And so you've got two things. We want to be aggressive, but at the same time, we don't want to be aggressive.
Okay.
So we've got both. We're going to use both.
Why not?
Why not?
I've never used a drum sander, so.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll want one.
Great.
Now you're going to need a joiner, a drum sander. This is going to be a good sell.
You're awesome, man. So once we're finished with the drum sander, what's next?
We're going to take it over to the orbital sander, the Festool. We're going to finish it up on the sanding. That's more of a polishing.
Okay.
Is what we're going to do is polish both sides.
And how high will we take that up to?
We're going to take it up to 120. We're going to go through 3 grits.
Okay.
If we think we want to do more, we can, but we'll do it. It's personal preference.
Oh, okay.
So we'll make that decision when we get there.
Okay.
And then we'll joint both edges because we might have some glue marks that we want to take off. Then we're going to take it to the table saw. We're going to square an edge, cut it in half, square an edge, and then from there we're going to go to the router table.
Sweet. Well, let's get started, man. We're
All right.
almost done.
Yes, we are.
We're just about done with the router table.
We are.
So what are we going to do here?
We're going to put a profile around the edge.
Okay.
And we're going to put a handle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And where do we start?
You're going to need to pick a top. What's going to be the top of each board?
Okay. Is there anything in particular I'm looking for?
The prettiest side.
Just character?
Yeah, whatever your personal preference is.
So I like this side here.
That's a good side.
We got that.
Yes, this is a sexy side.
This is a sexy side, man. That's nice.
That's the side to use.
And then on this one here.
Either or.
I don't know. I think I like this side better because I like this area in here.
I'm with you.
All right, cool.
Good taste.
So we've got that. Both sides are up.
Good.
Our faces are up.
Okay, so let's set one of them over here.
Okay.
We pre-measured this, so we've got our stop set to give us about a 3-inch handle.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we need to set the fence.
Okay.
So we're going to set the piece on the bearing, and we're going to pull the fence in to the piece all the way. We're going to lock that side, and we're going to lock this side.
Okay.
And so now we know we got we're a little bit off somewhere, so we need to move in and make sure that lock it down. That's too far. Lock it. Lock that other one. That's better.
Okay.
So we need to raise that bit up.
Okay.
And you're going to reference it at 0, so each turn back to 0. Other way, clockwise. So I'm going to look and see. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. We'll start there. Take that out and lock it. Other way. There it is. All right.
It's locked?
Yep. Okay. Now, this bit is spinning counterclockwise, so you want to move into it and go against it. You're always moving against the bit when you're routering anything.
Okay.
You're going to start it here. You need a little more speed. We're going to give it some more speed. That right there. You're going to push it in. Pull it out. Other side. Put that here. Pull it out. Same thing.
Sandy, I got my doctoring gloves on.
You do.
What's next?
We are going to wipe these down and get any leftover dust off of them.
And what am I using?
You're using a cheesecloth. Pick it up. There might be a little bit of residue. You can look at your rag and see. Just a little. Turn it over. Do the back side as well. Do the back side first.
What kind of finish are we using on this?
We're going to use a mineral oil that doesn't have any petroleum.
Okay.
So it's food safe.
Food safe.
Yeah. The kind you buy anywhere else usually has petroleum.
Okay.
You don't want that. So this is where the magic starts.
Look at that. Oh, look at that color pop.
Yeah, the color really starts
That's
popping.
beautiful.
That curly maple is from the Amish.
Uh-huh.
Jonas. This is Peruvian. This is curly maple. This is American walnut from South Carolina. These are both Brazilian woods.
Look at that. Woo! Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you much. I had a great time, dude.